do we use what we know was called innovation to get ourselves out of the ditch and onto the platform? Because there are a lot of things we know we're supposed to do. Many times we don't do it, we cut corners. Innovation requires continuity over a period of time and thinking and smart people. In the document we have areas we need innovation. We have product development. Mrs. Hart is doing product development. She said this morning she didn't go to UE, she doesn't have a UE degree, but she's into innovative products. Neil Paul just said it's a great product. He wants to put an order. When we have innovators like Mrs. Hart, how does the system, not just in Barbados, how does the system in the region use her expertise? We talked about succession planning yesterday and this morning. How do we use her expertise? If, God forbid, something should happen to Mrs. Hart tomorrow, what happens to those products? She's trained people, yes, but we need to have a continuity in training and in innovation. Product development, admin processes. Many times people complain, when you go to the ministries, you go to the aid bank, the bureaucracy is so old and tardy that you cannot do your business properly. Innovation in how we do business in terms of supporting the sector. Innovation in data management. This morning and yesterday we talked about data, information. We need data, we need information to do business. We still have very archaic data collection systems in all the ministries, I must say, all the ministries. What they're collecting now is what they collected 50 years ago. In today's world of innovation, we need different kinds of data, and we have no systems to collect. So when we don't have that information, we cannot make proper decisions, or entrepreneurs do not get proper information, and therefore our innovation processes are very slow. There was a study that came out sometime on competitiveness in the Caribbean, and I dare say, I think Trinidad and Tobago scored very low in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of in the economy, very low. But then all of us in the rest of the region, especially OECS, see Trinidad as the big country. But when you don't have systems in place nationally to support innovation and entrepreneurship, it's going to be very difficult to move agriculture from a primary producer into the value chain and into markets, whether it's niche markets or mass markets. So we need to have systems in place in terms of innovation. And the reason why we call it innovation is not just, think of innovation beyond the product, beyond the process, innovation in the entire system that supports agriculture, including extension and everything else. Back to the floor. And then stop by 1:45 or latest 1 o'clock.
Yes, in terms of, I think that within the region we have a lot of innovations in agriculture, but a lot of the innovations are not known publicly, either because of mistrust or because people believe that they would not be compensated for their ideas, that somebody's going to just take it and then it becomes theirs. And there must be some system in place to protect, yes, the, what do you call that? Intellectual property or business engineering, whatever it is they call it. We need to have education of persons so they know that this is the way to do it. A lot of times people don't have the money to push their ideas forward. And I think that perhaps there is where, I don't know, some kind of organization may be able to help in terms of pushing the ideas forward to develop these innovations.
Those things are called sometimes the business incubators type of UP.
Yes,
so,
yes. In addition, we do have opportunities for niche market. We have a lot of products that each island, I think, could identify some one thing, even if it's one, that they could push. For example, in Trinidad, we have shadow benny, or fitweed, we call it, that could be developed as something that could be sold. It has medicinal properties, and there are other things that we could look at. And we have opportunities, but the problem is moving it from just an idea and the opportunity to actual realization of the
commercialization stage.
Yeah. But the idea is that I just wanted to mention that in the whole list of innovations, I didn't spend enough time on intellectual property, which is another area that I'm involved in. I heard Rebecca talking about ideas. Let me disavow you of that notion. You cannot protect an idea. So there's no intellectual property protection for ideas, but the express creations of the human mind can be protected. And I want you to lobby your governments to sign the IUPAC agreements, because only Trinidad and Jamaica have signed so far in terms of the new plant varieties, so we can stop all of the bioprospecting that is going on in the region.
Okay, I just want to close off again talking about mindsets, about us having a different, looking at this thing differently, and in some instances, we just have to get up and think outside the box. I agree that we have to do some more we need much more networking. And for now, David asked the question, but healthy foods and well-being, all part, that is a niche market. We can't, I don't think we could focus right now on mass production, particularly because our taste is so foreign as well. So we could start with groups and multiply, okay?
I think that we do have in the region products and processes that are innovative, and we need to protect those. We need to identify them first of all, and find ways of protecting them and commercializing where possible, so that other persons could benefit from those products and processes that have been developed. In addition, we do have opportunities for developing minds, but I do really believe that something is wrong somewhere in our systems. I don't know how many new innovations our universities have really churned out over the last 20 years, if anything at all. And we need to rethink and look at our education system on the whole.
Okay. There are many challenges that we have, facing the agriculture and the agro-processing and the agribusiness. But if we sit here and ponder on everything that we can't do, it makes no sense. I forge ahead. There must be a leader. I'm a leader. I'm only 4'11", 4 foot and about 11 and a half. Yeah. But when I walk as a person that's 10 feet tall. Yeah. And I do not allow people, to challenge me and say you can't do it. Anytime you tell me you can't do it, I make you say I can do it. So just let me say that through all my efforts as a food development officer with the BADMC, this going back about 20 years ago, I was told by professionals, you can't dry peppers because this don't happen and that don't happen. I proved to him, yes, I can do it. When I took it back at a forum, I showed him, he said, Miss Hart, I have to commend you because you proved me wrong. When I started with the breadfruit, some person said, how you're going to do all this work on the breadfruit? I said, I will go from house to house to house. It took me 2 years, but I did it. And today, the Ministry of Agriculture know that there are X amount of breadfruit trees growing in the country, how the ages, asking about old people and so on. And it took me 2 years, but I did it. I turned again when the cassava farmers were crying out. Actually, cassava was distinct. They didn't extinct from the plates of Barbados because people talk about the manioc and the bitter and this and that. So cassava was just growing and nobody was doing it. In 2004, I started out this project and I started grating by hand and getting out, the old crocus bag and ringing and so on. My CEO come to me, Miss Hart, you can't do that. It won't work. I said, trust me. Today is the best and most sought after product in Barbados as a processed product through the BADMC. The demand outstripped the output. And I have people in this room that could identify and could attest to it, that Barbados is foremost now in the third world country and in cassava processing, and that was because of me. I didn't allow anybody to deter me, and anything that I have to do now, given life, I will do it. One thing I want to make sure that when we start these things like business and so on, we leave our children out. And I don't want to bring all my business here, but I have 7 children. That's why I name my business 7 Hearts. Everyone will have to work in the business. So I pass the baton. If you want to go to university, work in the business. And that's made me successful. So apart from the work that I do at the BADMC, I'm educating people. I bring people on board. And I spend like 6 hours a day at work, working and talking to people. If they have a problem, I sort out with them, money or no money. I say, you have to come on board and make this country a better one.
Yes.
Right, and that is for being persuasive. Thank you.